Like there's one client where I walk in the door, shirtless. He had a joint in his hand. He had 3 empty shot glasses of beer, lazy eye, and I ended up. It's an inside joke with me and my team. I called him Nipples. My client's name is Nipples, right? As soon as I get in, he goes, "What the fuck are you doing here?"
I was like, "Oh."
I was like, "Yeah. You knew already. You know, you and your wife invited me here to help you with your finances." He goes, "Well, grab a beer, fucker." And we're buddies. Like, we vibed, we riffed. Everybody, welcome to Real Talk episode 10. I'm here with Steven. I actually met Steven through Sean Davidson, a previous guest. He works with him with Jobby. Also, he does some other stuff on the side. So I guess we'll get right into it. Maybe give him a brief summary of the types of things that you're up to right now.
For sure. So basically, right now, I am currently working with Sean's dad's company called RMS Glass. We do retrofit and replacement work. And I'm currently the sales lead or the head of all the sales for that company. Mm-hmm. And then for Jobby, Chief Operating Officer, we are currently doing a whole reposition, and now we're just looking for funding and starting to drive more interest for the product.
Right. So you mentioned to me before that you would consider yourself a serial entrepreneur,
mm-hmm.
right? So maybe walk me through when that all started.
Gosh, my fascination with anything entrepreneurial or like business oriented has been before I could quite understand the concepts. I mean, I started selling pop at the side of the road. I lived in a small town. I made a big sign and I set it out front, and I got my mom to loan me $20 to buy some soda from the store down the street, and I started selling there. And then in grade school, I sold really fancy looking pens to my friends. In high school, I ran my own energy drink business out of my locker, actually.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And I ended up, I always boast about making more than any of my friends working part-time jobs did, but I just went to school and did that instead. So that was one other venture. And then after all those entrepreneurial ideas and evolutions of what I did, I discovered sales, and I started working in retail sales and stuff like that, getting a lot of experience interacting with people and how that could help me.
So you got into sales much earlier than I did, because I got into it really late in the game. You know? In fact, if I were to have met you when I was younger, I would have thought you were a weird kid. Seriously, and that's probably what it is. You got into entrepreneur so young. So you said, was it a lemonade stand?
It was a soda stand.
Soda stand, right?
I thought lemonade was too generic. It was like, it's going to be different, so yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then right now, it's those two things you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So what is the next move for starting up new ideas, new business opportunities, or are you going to stick with these two right now? Where's your mind at with that?
So right now, literally the idea is going to be developed probably within the next year. Jobby has, and you can quote me on this, a life expectancy and a shelf life of, in its current state, 1 year at most. So it's either a make it or break it in a year for Jobby Technologies Corp. For us, and that's true for Sean. But for the company itself, I'm going to give myself the opportunity of 1 year to work on both RMS Glass and Jobby.
Cool.
After this year, we'll see where the road takes us. Because ideally, Jobby, we're just about to develop a whole year's worth of ideas and plans for what to move forward with. But I know Sean and I have a lot of ideas beyond just Jobby.
Yeah.
So if this falls flat on its face, that's fine.
It's okay.
We'll cut our losses. We have a corporation
totally
already. We just build underneath that again.
Yeah, that sounds wise. I think a lot of people would like to go to the grave with their ideas. Yeah. And that's unfortunate. You have so many ideas that you could use,
It's really sad how people stick to these, they cling on to these ideas and they'll beat it like a dead horse. Honestly, if you can't make an idea work, even Jobby's at the point where, and it's a reality, even with a good idea, the idea is only as good as the market that you're in and the potential that's there. And if you wait too long, like Jobby, one of the reasons for the changes is that we waited too long. So if that change doesn't precipitate, it doesn't create itself, then we're not going to waste our time. It's time for a new idea. It's time for a fresh start. And now that we've learned so much, 2.5 years down the pipe, we know what to do now.
Okay, so one thing that jumped out to me right away when I met you was I asked you if you had sales background. Remember that, right?
Yep.
Because you just know when you're sitting with somebody by the way they push the voice out of their, whatever you want to call it, right? Okay, so it's coming out. It's coming out strong. One, how long would you say sales has been a passion, if it is a passion of yours? Were you passionate about it when you were really young, or were you just kind of doing it? And how has it changed you as an individual?
So I didn't know, and this is going to sound really philosophical and deep when I talk about it. Sales as a career only defined itself for me when I started working at Future Shop.
Okay.
Because I didn't know, it's the first time push had come to shove for me identifying what I was doing was, and how I was creating value. But the idea of creating value for people, whether that's in personal life or when I was a little kid, I even understood that it wasn't in, trying to be sneaky and to steal a cookie out of the cookie jar. It was about trying to add value to my parents, saying, hey, I'll be a good kid if I get the cookie. So it's not, I've been, I guess, passionate or interested in the idea of adding value to interactions since before I knew what it was. But the first time I started to put a name to it was when I started in sales. So I think I've always been trying to find a way to do things in a value-add approach for forever, and that's part of human interaction for me anyways, is how can I benefit you to benefit me, right?
Normally when I sit down with somebody, I try to figure out who their inspirations are for their sales mentors, because you can see stylistic overlap between people. Like to say, if you listen to Grant Cardone a lot or Gary Vee, kind of hear it in the way they riff about things, but I can't find yours. It's odd, So who are your inspirations? Who are your guys?
Gosh, honestly, my guys, I like Grant Cardone's style. I've read some of his stuff. It's good. And Gary Vee as well. I honestly just have built upon experiences. Like my dad's been a great inspiration for me, oddly enough, of all people. He's now national sales manager for another company, but I learned a lot from just listening, from my surroundings. I've never had a traditional person I've always looked to say this is what I'm supposed to do. I've just kind of felt my way through, see what works, see what people think. So I wouldn't say that I necessarily have.
No, that's cool. I mean, if you're going off of instinct, that's good.
Yeah.
And I think there's going to be probably a lot of walls you'd run into by doing it your own way, but then ultimately you develop your own style, which would make you unique, and you're being yourself as opposed to trying to be somebody else. So you probably could never be better than Gary Vee at being Gary Vee anyways. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I'm like, oh, Gary Vee would say that.
Yeah.
But Gary Vee would also say that, so I can't be better than him if he's the one that's his sales tactic. And Grant Cardone's swagger is a certain way. And
yes.
I listen to Ed Milet, and it's all about passion and energy. And these guys all have their own little divisions. And sometimes I get caught up in thinking, well, I could be that, I could be that, I could be that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Sometimes when I don't even think about it, that's when I'm my most effective. And I can't even, imagine who it would be like. It's just some other thing that's not in a textbook that came off purely of instinct and our own ability to, I guess, persuade people to do the things that we think are right for them.
Oh yeah, well, and I've always avoided the word persuade. Show value is always the.
I know, but we're talking salesperson to salesperson. Here,
oh,
so. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I totally see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
When you're looking at exactly what you said, is you can adapt bits and pieces. Actually, one of my favorite things to do is I will give anyone my time, because I love hearing what people have to say, even if it's the weirdest people. I learned this at Future Shop, the Source. You meet the strangest people in retail, and I'm sure with your finance.
Oh yeah, geez, I have some
really
stories for you, man.
Obscure people, and you're like, how? But if you listen to them, sometimes they'll have little bits of information that are just kind of interesting, or philosophical thoughts or perspectives, and you just take that and you go. And I always do this, no matter who I'm talking to, I go, I like that, I'll use that. I don't like that, get rid of that.
Right.
And that's how I build my own styles. I'll just piece together things I like, and down to interacting with people. That's how you define yourself, is you just kind of take bits and pieces. Like I love Grant Cardone's swagger. It's crazy.
Blows my mind.
Gross how effective he is at just carrying himself.
Yeah.
And Gary Vee's energy is unreal. But it's just how you feel comfortable.
At the very least, if I'm sitting down with somebody who I have no common ground with, I would never sit down for coffee or go out for a beer, but it's my client. At the very least, what I get out of that is, if I can find a way to salvage this interaction, I'm probably going to run into somebody who's similar to this person again.
Exactly.
And then I got it. So I see those always as opportunities to see what I can mold myself into, so that the next time it comes around, I can have it. You know, and I've had some crazy, like there's one client where I walked in the door, shirtless, he had a joint in his hand, he had 3 empty shot glasses of beer, lazy eye, and I ended up, it's an inside joke with me and my team, I called him Nipples, my client's name is Nipples, right? As soon as I get in, he goes, "What the fuck are you doing here?"
I was like, oh,
I was like, you knew already, you know, you and your wife invited me here to help you with your finances. He goes, "Well, grab a beer, fucker." And we're buddies. Like, we vibed, we riffed. And right away, he was just trying to see if I was going to be able to get to that level. Yeah. As soon as he came in like that, took my jacket off, took my tie off, started drinking the beer, and I was just in it.
On the same level.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you know, I wouldn't. It's not normally my vibe, but it's come up not quite to that extreme, but other times to a lesser extreme. Yeah. And I was like, hey, if I can do that, then I can do this. Because most of the time, it's not going to be that crazy. Yeah. You know? And in means of finding qualified buyers, I mean, if I'm going in to help somebody with their finances, it's not really a qualified buyer. I could run into anything. I could run into somebody with a net worth of $5 million, or somebody whose phone's ringing 7 times a day from their creditors.
Exactly.
And I don't know what I'm walking into.
No.
And they won't tell me. And sometimes they don't even tell me in front of their significant other, and I have to find out when I pull a credit bureau, and they text me on the side, hey, you know, right? Yeah. So that's a huge wide range, and you develop your personality type like that. So that's why I'm so passionate about sales in general, right? Yeah. So anyway, so I'm always curious as to what links people into sales, what keeps them into it. You know, do they see it as a long-term thing? Like, for example, for you, do you see yourself getting out of sales at any point?
I see myself, and you know, part of the reason I joined, or I created Jobby with Sean, is because I love sales, but I also have a leading bone. Like, I love being a leader as well. So I see myself leaving sales to lead sales. You know, trying to grow.
Cool.
Just to start in my position, learn all the experience that I can get, and then pass that information and that knowledge and that learning on to more salespeople or more people in general. And I mean, you know, so I guess the long and short of it, to directly answer is not necessarily forever in sales, but always using my skills and using my distinct advantages to benefit not only me, but other people around me. You know, like, one thing I guess I could really say I take away from any sales learning or any opportunities is that these skills and the skills that we possess are useful for anything. You know, everyone thinks that, like, you know, when you go to school to study accounting, you're only going to be a good accountant or whatever, or you go to school to study a certain thing. But being in sales means that you're good at literally talking about anything and selling yourself, whether it's in personal relationships or business or...
I consider them professional persuaders, but you don't like that word, but I love that word.
Professional persuaders, very true. Like, you walk into any room and you can instantly define yourself and stand on your own without having to try and justify your presence or feel uncomfortable. I just know how to exist, right? That's one of the actually hardest things for people, is just being there.
That's actually a lot of high-level sales training. They'll say, know how to exist beside your client. Yeah. Just create dead space. Create the vacuum where you don't feel the obligation to have to justify yourself. Yeah. Somebody will speak first. And that can take you a year and a half, 2 years to feel comfortable enough in your own skin to just sit there and say nothing. Sometimes you just talk your face off and you talk yourself out of the room, you know?
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. One of the biggest things, is and this is in countless sales, whether it's like the courses I took or personal experience, is that if you can't learn to shut your mouth as a freaking salesperson, you're going to lose more sales than you'll ever make. Like, because when they say yes, they go, okay, that sounds good. Like, great, I'm going to do the paperwork. Instead of going, great, this is why it's great. Like, they already know, right? So a lot of you know, just being comfortable and just being like, quiet's great too. I can talk, but I can say just as much without talking. You know?
Okay, so I have a new angle for you. So you're an articulate guy. You don't strike me as untrustworthy. Okay, but what would you say are some of the hardest, most common objections that you face based on your personality type when you're selling the product?
Oh gosh, and this one reason I'm happy that I'm in business to business sales now, or I deal with older clients, is because people love the clean cuts me, and it's really easy because, and I mean, truth be told, I honestly I can be chill, but it's not my second nature to be like, what's up, man?
Yeah.
But at places like Virgin Mobile, when I was in sales there, they explicitly told me, you're way too uptight, dude.
Yeah.
Like, chill out. And honestly, that's one group of people that I have a really hard time communicating with, is people who are just like, one objection that it gets caused by is like, is that I am very formal and articulate.
Yeah.
And some people, and it is salesy, honest to goodness.
Yeah,
it
and they'll say that I wonder if I'm missing something because it's too presentable.
Yeah.
And then there's actually a lack of trust based on how well it was presented.
Exactly. It's a paradox that if you carry yourself well, people think that you're carrying too well. You know, the too good to be true thing is very real.
If you had a secret, you could hide it from me.
Probably.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah. So that's the mentality, I guess. And I mean, and it's also a read. Like, I understand you, and I understand that you're, in the same kind of boat of trying to offer this sort of, professional sales environment and platform. So I'm speaking professionally to you.
Yeah.
But for example, the clients I just met with today were in their 70s. So when I come in to measure their windows and stuff like that, I keep the professional, but I also will talk about the most random old people things ever, like the weather outside and, where they're going on vacation this year. They're going to Florida. So and there's a nuance to it. And sure, I'm not good at reaching down to like joint 3 shots and a beer. Yeah. That's not usually my game, but I do understand that I do have to level with people. And, if you tell them something, like even in a sales interaction, if you're talking with someone who's closer to our age or 30, 35, that's not our age, but still, and you tell them like one thing that's kind of like not exactly what you would normally say, so you go, yeah, you know what, honestly, man,
I know where you're going with this.
Kind of pisses me off that they do this, but this is what I deal with too. And they're like, right, now common ground, and now you can basically do the rest of the pitch.
I think you're the first person I sat down with who we so quickly agreed that one of our biggest problems was deformalizing ourselves for some clients, because that's been seriously probably my biggest issue in 3 years. Now, I tried to turn it into a strength, like completely redefine myself and make it a 50-50 where people who knew me growing up know squeaky clean, super professional, doesn't know how to swear.
Yeah.
People who have met me in the last year and a half think the opposite.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you just whip out the one you need when you need it.
Yeah.
But that was the hardest thing ever. And there were times where I sit down with somebody who's just chill, like, hey, can you just like chill out, bro? Like, can you just chill? You're too professional. You're too together. I don't trust it.
Yeah, exactly.
If you had a secret, you could keep it from me. I don't trust my own conclusions because I think you'd be able to bypass a problem that I would otherwise be able to catch. Therefore, I don't want to do business with you.
Yeah. It is a dangerous world. And, of course, when you transition, you have to be able to either anticipate the read or you have to know it in advance. Because if you walk in one persona, and it sounds so weird when we talk about
this, but no, you're speaking my language now.
Oh, yeah. when you walk in wearing one suit, and then all of a sudden you're like, shit, I got to switch. You have to be careful how you switch, because if you switch like that throws people off even more. Like if I walk in...
I've been caught transitioning, and the only thing I can do at that point is say, hopefully you respect me more because I'm capable of being so many people. And that's a sign of intelligence. And you should trust somebody who's intelligent with your finances.
Hey, that's a good pitch, man. Honestly, I like that. Because, and one, I always love calling out, it breaks down so many walls. I don't know if you've ever done this. And maybe it's just true with where I've been working. But people love to unconsciously, and it's totally unconscious, they love crossing their arms.
Yeah.
And it's
I want to hear your take on this. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So sometimes it's a sign to them of not trusting you. It's a closed stance naturally, but it also just means that people want to be comfy. This is actually a really comfortable way to sit, by the way. I don't know if you've ever done it. And it's really funny if you call people out on doing this. Like say you're standing with someone, and someone just does this, keeping eye contact with you. If you do it too, and then look down at their arms and look back up at them, and they'll be like, I'm so sorry. And you're like, yes, I'm sorry too. So just calling them out on it and being like, hey, I know I'm listening to you. It shows that you're listening is by mimicking and interacting with them, right? And, even bobbing your head like I just did, you just impulsively.
Oh, no, I think about it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, when you talk to a real estate guy who's been doing it for 15 years, 20 years,
yeah,
they are a bobblehead. they will turn you into a bobblehead in 5 seconds.
Yeah, you're like, whoa, you're just.
And it's just hilarious how it works, you know.
It's crazy.
And Grant Cardone has he's this huge speech about people that cross their arms. Funniest thing ever.
Oh, really?
He said that those are his favorite clients, because maybe they're trying to be comfortable. Okay, but also if they are closed and have a difficult time trusting you, then if you can get them to trust you, they're less likely to say yes to the next salesperson. Therefore, loyal customers.
Yes, that's
people
true.
that don't cross their arms, people that say yes so quickly to everything, are just as likely to say yes to the next person. Therefore, longevity of maintaining, gone.
Yeah.
So 2 ways to look at it, right?
That's a really good perspective, actually. I've always just approached the problem and not actually looked deeper into it. It's always been, you read the situation for someone who's doing the crossed arm look, and it is so subconscious for a lot of people. Like they somewhere in their subconscious mind are going, I don't trust this person. But if you call them out on it, you, for one, shut down that subconscious voice, and then two, you relate with them. You show them that you're listening.
Okay, so just to wrap things up here, I know we have a minute or two left. What would you say for people that know that you're up to business, that kind of know what you're doing? What's something that they don't know about you that you'd like them to know about you?
Oh, God. Something I'd like them to know.
Tough.
That is tough. Honestly, it's just that. Oh my God, this is a brutal statement. Wow.
No, that's good. Hey, maybe that means you're so transparent they know everything about you, and that's why you have nothing to say.
I really try to project as much transparency as possible whenever I talk to people.
I love that it's uncut and that moment gets captured, because that's also valuable. That's, you know what I mean? Like, that's cool.
Yeah. Honestly, I carry myself how I want to be seen. I don't.
That's a wonderful answer.
Yeah.
Steven, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Beautiful. Thanks for coming out, man.
Cheers. Thank you.